Hello, and welcome to Inside the Video Store, another episode. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the new people. You may have noticed in the banner for this week's episode, we have a giveaway. For some reason, that does seem to draw people in. Plus, I'm thinking that the criteria for entering this giveaway might draw some people in a bit. So apologies to the long-time viewers, but for the sake of introductory notices, my name is Dave Wain. I am the proprietor, curator, and general dogs buddy at this fine establishment, Snips Movies, one of the last remaining movie rental stores in the UK. We have a stock, a archive of somewhere in the region of 19,300 films. And yeah, we're a proper movie rental store. People come in, they rent films, and they take them home. It's revolutionary, but it might just catch on. Who knows? Who knows? Give it time. Give it time. But yeah, if you haven't seen this show before, business is very, very good at Snips Movies currently. We're having a real purple patch, excuse me, in terms of business and in terms of everything, really. Life is good at the moment. What do we do here? What do we do? Well, for around about 50 minutes per week, I tend to talk at you in a monotonous, monosyllabic voice about bits of plastic that drop through my mailbox. No, we talk about movies. We talk about movies. We give you an insight. I give you an insight into the running of the last remaining movie rental store in the UK. What's coming in? You know, the new product that's coming in week after week after week. What's going out, which is always interesting. And just bits and bobs, stuff that, you may find to be interesting. Because, a lot of people who don't patronize a video store in 2025 might think that things are done in the style of 1989. And it's far from that. It is far from that. I mean, it's a cliche, but I literally have ripped up the rule book. There is no membership. There is no late fees. There is no fixed rental period. Even Jeff Bezos has a fixed rental period for his digital files that he charges you £5 to loan. So yeah, it's a really chill environment. I'm a socialist by nature, so we kind of run it as a collective, whereby everybody hopefully feels as though they have a stake in the success of their business. And if people come and patronize this business, then ultimately they benefit themselves and other people benefit. We all benefit because we get great films in, and we get to have the choice of watching films from different cultures, different countries, different eras, instead of, kind of homogenized crap that a lot of the streamers seem to churn out. And it's nice. It's nice to go to different countries and see films made in interesting circumstances from artists who are independent. And I think we all deserve to broaden our artistic palette as opposed to shrink it down to this bottleneck that we're heading into. So it's really, really important to really embrace that diversity in what I offer here. And yeah, success means that, thankfully, as you're about to see throughout the next 50 minutes or so, I can get some pretty diverse material in, which might not appeal to everyone, but hopefully sometime somewhere there is an audience. I had Dylan in, who's great, brilliant filmmaker. You will have seen him on the latest episode of 5 Films, which is my spin on the Criterion Closet. But instead of interviewing Martin Scorsese or Ethan Hawke, we have regular people regular people talking about 5 films that they want to talk about, which is far more interesting to me, because regular people's opinions, unless they're a flag-waving knuckle dragger, are worth listening to. Sorry, political. Anyway, but yeah, you might have seen Dylan's latest 5 films, and Dylan was in renting some films. He brought another new customer. What Dylan does is every time he comes in to rent a film, he brings a new customer. It's part of the deal. It's part of the deal. It's like, no, Dylan, you're not coming in. You can't come in until you bring a new customer with you every single time. That's a joke. But he does. He brings a new customer with him every single time. So he brought a new customer who is really, really cool, rented some good movies. But Dylan said to me, he said, well, do you know how many times each film has gone out? You know, do you keep a record? You know, do you strike it off? And I said to him, no. I said, no, because it's irrelevant. Because as soon as you start doing that, each film becomes a commodity. You know, each film is then thrust into the profitability spotlight. And I don't care. I honestly don't care. I've had films here for 20 years. I've never once been out the store, and I've never cared about that. It's irrelevant to me. Absolutely irrelevant. Because it's here. That's all that matters. It's here. It's not going to expire in 30 days. It's not going to be removed because of a licensing agreement expiring. You know, things are here and they stay here. And they will stay here as long as is humanly possible. So yeah, that clears that one up. Repping a fine tea here, straight to video, from the 80s video store, which is my friend Rob in just outside Derby. I think it's Ilkeston. We got chatting last week, and I think I mentioned it to you. I'm running out of film on loan tags. You know the things. These, because more films are being rented than ever before in the last 30 years. I'm running out of these. We've never run out of these in 30 years, but now I'm running out, and Rob has devised a unique contraption to replicate these exact things. He sent me some samples as well. They're great quality. So I'm going to order 250 of those from Rob in a few weeks' time. And he was kind enough to send his one of his tees to the post. That's what a fantastic t-shirt that is. Straight to video. You know, I couldn't be more passionate about straight to video films. So to have a tee that says straight to video is absolutely fantastic. But give Rob a follow. 80s Video Store over in Ilkeston, just outside Derby. That's that. I had a lovely text from the Liverpool Echo today, who texted me, a lovely young lady by the name of Hannah. She texted me to say, can we spend a day with you for a feature in the Liverpool Echo? You know, a day in the life of. And that's all well and good until I realize it's really, really boring. But maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But yeah, I obviously welcome them with open arms, and they can come and stand here and observe and speak to people and speak to me, which I said to them, I said, I'm a talker. I don't shut up. So unfortunately, send someone you don't like, because they're going to have reams of stuff to transcribe. If they probably use an app, don't they, to transcribe? I've never done that. Whenever I've interviewed a director or an actor or a producer, I've always transcribed by hand. I think it works better. You get the genuine feel of the conversation. But anyway, I digress. We're probably 8 minutes in, and I haven't even mentioned a film yet. What have I got for today, anyway? We have a stack of films, which is good, which are all out in the UK this week. A stack of films that are all released in the UK this week. It's, as you know, or as you don't know, if you're the first-time watcher, it's a 3-week spell. It is a 3-week spell of madness in the United Kingdom, whereby we are being graced with a number of films each week, because it's Q4, people. It's Q4, buzzword. Q4, it's the retail capital of the year, hotbed of retail activity. So every distributor is fighting to get their product into online wholesalers, retailers for Christmas. So this 3 weeks of the year are pretty much crazy. So last week was nutty. This week is nutty. Next week is the nuttiest nutball of nuttiness you can ever imagine. But it's good. There's some good stuff coming in next week, but there's some great stuff this week, which we'll get to in a second. I have an on-loan section as usual. It's slightly dominated by horror because the horror section, this has just been a major thoroughfare for the last week or so, which has been brilliant to see. Really cool to see parents dragging their kids in there as well and sort of showing them really cool horror films. All the classics are renting like hell. You know, James Milani took all the Romero Dead films last night. A load of Friday the 13th have gone out. I think we had 5 Friday the 13th movies out at one time last week. Loads of Elm Streets are going out on loan. The Howling is out on loan. So yeah, all the pivotal films from the kind of slasher era are all renting like mad, which is brilliant. And they're all being seen by fresh eyes, which is the most exciting thing of all. I have a small what's in the box. A few little interesting little bits and bobs have dropped in this week. Hopefully should get Vinegar Syndrome next week, I'm hoping, but it still hasn't shipped. It is the 22nd today. Surprised it hasn't shipped yet. That's a bit of a concern, but still, hopefully it will be here for next Wednesday. And then finally, we'll sift through some of your comments, and we have criticism. We have criticism of the host, and it's justified. And I will explain why a little bit later. And as I started off by saying, we have the competition. Should we do the competition now? No, because people will switch off. However, these are all going to be flying out the door. These are all, well, no, 2 of those belong to Matty Budrewicz. These are all going to be flying out the door free of charge to some of you over the course of the next week or so. And your destiny is in your hands. Trust me. Why would you trust me? Okay, coffee. Need coffee. Day off today. It's been a day. It's been a day. If you know, you know. Okie dokie, what have we got? What have we got? We have a luxurious stack of films. This week, the first 3, I have no stake in whatsoever, so I will just hold them up, and you can get excited if necessary. Something just dropped then. Yes, it did. Sorry. I'm going to have to... Oh! I have a thing about LPs being on the floor, because I know I will tread on that in about 3 minutes' time. Okay, kid stuff. Smurfs. Another incarnation. We had a few Smurfs films out... when was it? Probably 10 years ago. They're still regular renters, you know. People do love a Smurf. That's not a euphemism. But yeah, the latest Smurf film is in, which features the vocal talents of Kurt Russell. Who knew? James Corden. Oh, Jesus. Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, God. Anyway, you know, if that's your cup of tea, if you want to torture your children by giving them blue people, you know, there we go. The new Smurfs film is out this week on DVD. Just stuck with the DVD on that one. Rihanna is Smurfette. Is that a draw? I guess it would be. Up next, we have another incarnation of the Fantastic Four. First Steps, it calls itself. Who's in there this time? Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne is in Smurfs as well. We have connections. Natasha Lyonne. What was that really, really cool film she was in? I forget. Was it But I'm a Cheerleader? Possibly. You're going to correct me. See, I'm 10 minutes in and you're correcting me already. Because that's what it's about. It's for Dave to screw up on the facts. And for you wise people to correct me. Because you're clever people. And I'm glad you're here. So yeah, this is another Fantastic Four film. Another Fantastic Four film. Did we need it? Well, whether we needed it or not, Marvel are gonna do it. They're gonna do it because they know it will get the bums on the seats. Did it though? Did this do well at the theatre, cinema? I don't know. But anyway, we have Fantastic Four: First Steps on Blu-ray and DVD now. I think most of these go straight to Disney, don't they? So I didn't want to go too heavy on that film. I have another Jurassic something film, Jurassic World Rebirth, written by David Koepp, directed by Gareth Edwards. Isn't he the guy that did Monsters? That could be another faux pas, but I think I might be right. Scarlett Johansson is in this. Um, Steven Spielberg produces, of course, as does Frank Marshall. This number 7. I think it is the 7th Jurassic Park themed movie. That's quite a franchise now, isn't it? Have I seen any? No. But have you seen Carnosaur 1, 2, 3, and 4? That's what I ask you. That's what I ask you. Carnosaur, far superior to any Jurassic Park film. But still, it will have its fans. It will have its fans. It is Jurassic World Rebirth. We're missing 2 contemporary releases, 2 single title releases. One is about a shark. And one, this is really helpful. One is about a shark, and one is directed by a Spielberg, but not the Spielberg that you're thinking of. I will tell you what they are right now, and we will have the usual pop-ups in the right-hand side of the screen. A Beast of War. Beast of War is on its way in. That will be in tomorrow, Thursday, so the day before majority of you watch this. Looks good, actually. Looks good. I haven't had a shark film for at least a week. And we have Please Don't Feed the Children, directed by Destry Allen Spielberg. So I'm guessing that is some kind of relation. Very good. Looks all right. Bit of a horror, by all accounts. So yeah, they're the 2 singles that are coming in, both only on DVD. But this is the one single that has arrived. It is Dave Bautista and Samuel L. Jackson picking up his perfunctory cameo paycheck. And yeah, it's called Afterburn. Afterburn. So don't know much about that. Could be one of those that makes a fleeting appearance on the Snips new release world, but we shall see. We shall see. Finally, with the contemporary releases, I watched this last night. It moved me greatly. Very emotional piece of work. I might be inclined to say an exceptional piece of work. It is A Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror. This is a documentary made by Linus O'Brien. Linus is the son of Richard O'Brien, the creator, genius behind Rocky Horror. And Linus just goes around and sees all the old guard. He goes to see his dad in New Zealand, which makes for certainly some of the most emotional scenes in the film. I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, really, really touching. You can see Tim Curry, who is in fine form, which is amazing to see. Susan Sarandon is in this. Barry Bostwick is in this. Jack Black pops up for no reason whatsoever. And Lou Adler also pops up at 93 years old, looking cooler than I could ever look in my entire life. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's really well made. It kind of skips right across the Rocky Horror timeline with a delicate, with a delicacy, to be honest. It doesn't linger on any specific era. It talks about serious subjects in terms of identity. And it's just great. It really is a beautiful piece of work. So yeah, if you're inclined for a pair of stockings and a basque from time to time, I judge you not, then Strange Journey is certainly for you. And coincidentally, it happens to be released on the very same week that Rocky Horror Picture Show, the film of the famous musical, comes here on UHD. I watched it last night, double billed them, which was really, really cool. And I was kind of a little bit anxious about watching Rocky Horror Picture Show on 4K. Because, it is meant to be a B movie, like a cheesy science fiction B movie from the 50s. As Richard said, the wobbly sets and the boom mic and shot, and some of the dancers not going to plan. They're all on purpose because it's meant to have that clunky feel. So to see it polished up beyond belief, I was a bit reluctant to have a look, but it does look fantastic. I saw stuff last night that I'd never seen before, and I must have seen this 20 times, 30 times. Audio-wise, though, that was the real surprise. things I had never even picked up before. I'm the biggest 4K UHD cynic going. You know how frustrated I get in terms of pointless upgrades to films from Blu-ray to 4K UHD, but this for me was a serious upgrade. Yeah, brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it again, and it's got some good special features on that. So yeah, very cool indeed. This arrived today, just about. Great old Every. Good God, they can be. I have one guy who's amazing, but they can be a shocking delivery firm. Let me see if I can post you this picture of my. This is my box for 3 Extremes. 3 Extremes came in today, and this is the box it arrived in. What do you think? Fortunately, it was only a standard slip. On this was nothing too breakable in that, but good Lord. So yeah, we have both 3 Extremes, or both 3 movies, 3 and 3 Extremes. And great. I haven't seen these since they first came out. I've got them around here somewhere, probably back there. But they're brilliant. They are horror films par excellence. I love them to bits, and it's so cool to see some of these great horror movies from the Far East coming out on Blu-ray. Really, really exciting. There we go. Yay. Yeah, really, really cool. I've got both of the movies in here. Because in this country, it was called 3 Extremes and 3 Extremes 2, where in fact there is a slight error in terms of title. But yeah, it's out from Arrow Video this week. It's stacked with special features. You have both films in here. And yeah, I just can't wait to see Dumplings again. Because I haven't seen that for quite some time. Awesome. Park Chan-wook section as well. That was very cool indeed. Okie dokie. There we go. 3 Extremes. Both movies. Now, this is important. There's a new kid on the block. There's a new kid on the block. As you may or may not know, I don't know how heavily into your physical media collecting you are in terms of the whys and the wherefores and the whos and the whats. But it's a packed marketplace out there. Obviously, it's led by people like Arrow Video, 88 Films, Eureka, Indicator, Criterion UK. They're the 5 real market leaders. Radiance as well. But it's a packed field. It is a genuinely packed field, and we have a new distributor who has emerged. And lo and behold, they live 40 minutes away. So I was speaking to them today and congratulating them on one of these early releases. And they said, we're going to be around. We're going to be around to check out the place. So that's very cool indeed. The label itself is called Last Slate Video. That's Last Slate Video. And it's .co.uk, is it? It is, lastslatevideo.co.uk. Pay them a visit, because these films are not currently on Amazon. And I don't know if there are any other major retailers either. I don't know if HMV are stocking them. So the films that I've picked up as my first purchase from Last Slate Video are these 2, and I love these to bits. Laid to Rest and its sequel, Chrome Skull, Laid to Rest 2. Now, if you don't know, of course, Robert Hall created these films, wrote and directed them, and he is a makeup special effects genius. But unfortunately, he was a makeup and SFX genius, because unfortunately Robert died only a couple of years ago at an outrageously young age, and a greatly missed figure on the horror circuit, because he was he had a vision. He had a unique vision, and I like I say, I think Matty Budrewicz despises these films. I love them to bits. I think they're fantastic. I think they're both awesome post-millennium slasher movies. Laid to Rest is from 2009. Chrome Skull, Laid to Rest 2 is from 2011. They've both been sat in the horror section since the day they came out, so for 16 years. but they don't tend to get much attention. So I just wanted to take this moment, one, to say, if you want these are great additions. Pay a visit to lastslatevideo.co.uk. You have a poster in here, you have postcards, you have a reversible sleeve, and you have a stack of special features. The Making of Laid to Rest, a torture porn featurette, deleted scenes, and I think... Yeah, you got an interview with Robert Hall on the sequel. So yeah, it's a good addition. So yeah, pay a visit to lastslatevideo.co.uk. They're well worth a look. And yeah, but pay some attention to Laid to Rest. I think if you like a good horror movie, I think you may well like these. So yeah, exciting. It's a difficult market. It's a difficult market. I said to them today, I said, difficult to do, packed, but if the releases are as strong as this, then they should be all right. Okie dokie, moving on. Still on the newbies. It's going to be a long one. We have this, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I have this on Blu-ray already, from Eureka, who released it about 6, 7, 8 years ago. I wanted to get this Blu-ray because it has me on it, giving an audio commentary alongside my good friend Matty Budrewicz. You have 2 audio commentaries on here. You can either listen to Kim Newman or you can listen to me. It's a difficult decision. No, it's not. You listen to Kim Newman. But if you have had your fill of Kim, then you're more than welcome to listen to me. I watched every Charles B. Pierce film known to man in order to do this commentary. I watched The Legend of Boggy Creek 2 twice. Some people, that would be a punishment to some people. But yeah, it's a great little film. It's not perfect by any means, but Charles B. Pierce is a really, really unique character. And hopefully in our commentary, we get to tell you a little bit more about him, a little bit more of his peccadillos and weirdness and oddities. And yeah, he's a character. He was a character. But yeah, that is The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It's out this week from 88 Films, and you can win one in a bit. Cool. Moving on. Jess Franco. When you have 64 Jess Franco films, you may as well have number 65 as well. This is The Diabolical Dr. Z, or Z, a Spanish-French co-production, 1966. So we're quite early Franco here, to be honest. Described by Eureka here as a atmospheric and accomplished contribution to the European Gothic horror cycle of the 1960s, and a forerunner to the more outrageous exploitation films that would later catapult Franco to infamy. Infamy. They've all got an infamy. Franco is a very polarizing figure. We have a huge Franco section here with all his 60 or so films in. And I have some regular customers that mine that section regularly, and they love it. But he is a polarizing figure. But he's never dull at all. So there's a Diabolical Dr. Z in this week. It seems that 88 have picked up a few of Indicator's lapsed licenses, one of which is No Orchids for Miss Blandish. I have another one coming in next week with Elliot Gould, which I forget the name of. 3 letters, 1 word. Not to worry. But yeah, and to be honest, 88 always do a great job with artwork, always do a great job with slips. And yeah, another commentary by Kim Newman. And there's a piece from Stephen Thrower here. Yeah, a crime-fueled British noir. Interesting. Talking about British noir, how excited are you for that Indicator British noir box set coming in November? That looks great, doesn't it? Okay, we're going to get to this one last because it's kind of special, isn't it? Danny Dyer on Blu-ray. Danny Dyer on Blu-ray. Well, this without doubt is probably the best film that Danny Dyer has ever been in, directed by Christopher Smith. It's a very good black comedy horror. And Severance, it is called. Severance, it is called. I've had the DVD for nearly 20 years now. It seems like a weird upgrade, but it kind of made sense. It was well priced. There's a load of special features on there. And I just thought, well, why not? Let's have a bit of Danny Dyer on Blu-ray with Tim McInnery, the great Tim McInnery, Toby Stephens, and Andy Nyman. So it's a great cast, and Christopher Smith is an amazing director. But yeah, I thought, well, yeah, it's out this week. Let's give it a go. Severance gets a nice little upgrade to Blu-ray, courtesy of Icon Icon Home Distribution. Penultimate new release, as you all breathe a sigh of relief, is The Sadness. Some of you may have to fill me in on this one. I think, is this the first UK release for this that this has had? I'm not sure. I can't seem to see any other UK release because this is only available in 4K UHD. Bit disappointing for the non-4K UHD customers because it sounds unreal. It sounds unreal. Inspired in part by Garth Ennis's brutal graphic novel Crossed, which I have down there. The Sadness is a vicious satire of the darkest depths of humanity and apocalyptic powerhouse of an action-based horror film packed with incredible practical special effects, guaranteed to make even the most hardened gorehound squirm. Exciting. That is The Sadness, out this week, courtesy of Arrow. And finally, with this week's new releases, where am I going to put these? And there's next week's. We have this. Furious Swords, Fantastic Warriors. Cheng Che. 10 films. 10 films, I tell you. 10 films on this. All produced during Cheng Che's tenure at Shaw Brothers. These 10 films are a testament to the director's distinct aesthetic style and his recurring thematic preoccupations. Brilliant. It just says that these 10 films reveal the range and versatility of Cheng's career as a filmmaker. There's traditional Wupa, there's some from his Shaolin cycle, some from the dawn of Kung Fu, there's some esoteric work in a Peking opera film called The Fantastic Magic Baby, and a supernatural fantasy called The Weird Man. Amazing. So this is remarkable. When you think of it, I know I sound like a stuck record, but you have Arrow's Shawscope Volume 4 coming out in December, which is another thing, 16 Shaw Brothers movies in that. I still think back to 20 years ago, I had 2 Shaw Brothers movies, and you could not, for the life of you, get a Shaw Brothers movie in this country. All I could have was King Boxer came out, I think, and one other. And now here we are, 20 years later, and I think I must have over 100 Shaw Brothers movies in stock. Quite something. So yeah, we're on 5 discs, so we're on 2 films per disc. Great booklet in there as well. Superlative extras from people like Frank Jeng and Michael Worth, of course. He would have to be here. And David West. Cool. That's a great box set. Great box set. Possibly not the kind of slip and all that you might think it should demand, considering the cost. This was $57.99. But hey, who cares? We got the movies. That's the important part. Right, so that is them. And we can move on. Just out of interest, how many minutes have I been droning on for? 35 minutes. Have I ever droned on so endlessly without getting anywhere? Right. Okie dokie. Finally, we have progress. So what's been going out this week? Well, nice variety. First up, Neighbours went out yesterday. I love this film to bits. It's so dark. It was a massive flop when it came out. for John G. Avildsen, who, of course, had made Rocky a few years prior. Belushi and Aykroyd were hot property, but still, that didn't guarantee its success. Just a great chamber piece. A great chamber piece. Brilliantly comic. And its role reversal is Belushi playing the prim and proper guy and Aykroyd playing the slob. Unique film. I think it has aged beautifully. So there's Neighbours out now on loan. I wonder if it's out on Blu-ray anyway. I must have a look at that. My boys, Jude and Tom, are progressing through the Evil Bong franchise. They've seen Evil Bong 1, 2, and 3, and they've decided that at the point of Evil Bong 3 to jump ship and start Ginger Dead Man and then merge the two with Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, which is a sensible plot, to be honest, a sensible way of doing things. But yeah, really pleased to see the Ginger Dead Man going out. Evil Bong does outrent it. It shouldn't do, really, because this is the better franchise. Begrudgingly. Had a lovely young man in at the weekend telling me that he's been watching all kinds of depraved films. We had a quick discussion about Sarlo, which admittedly is not a conversation you have very often. And I said, well, he said, give me some more. Feed me some depravity. I said, well... I was going to do a joke then. I'm not going to say that. So I gave him Antichrist. He said, Lars von Trier. I said, Antichrist. Let's go there. Let's do it. Let's get some scissors out. I don't know how it'll go down, really. Well, indeed. What a remarkable film. Did I see this at the cinema? I think I did, which was an experience in itself. Lars von Trier, like Jess Franco, slightly more quality, has his critics, but I do like this film just for its... Oh, God, just because it just leaves you feeling weary. Mark and his son were in at the weekend, and they wanted a quality Sci-Fi Channel picture. And they said, you can't do it, Dave. They said, you can't do it. You cannot. There's no quality on the shelf. And I said, there is, because I have Big Ass Spider. I have Big Ass Spider. Mike Mendez directed this. Mike Mendez is a bona fide quality director. He made The Grave Dancers. He made The Convent, which I like a great deal. He's a good filmmaker. He's made some good stuff. And Killers as well. And he turns his hand to this and does it well. I did enjoy this a great deal. And you have Ray Wise in this. And anything with Ray Wise is a great movie. Meant to check if that's out on Blu-ray anywhere. Probably is. Should be. Love Exposure. One of my customers rented this. Sion Sono directed it. It's a great film. It's a 4-hour film, which can seem daunting. But it shouldn't, because I think this is one of those 4-hour films where you barely check your watch, to be honest, because if you wore a watch, because it's just, it compels you. It really does bring you into it. And it moves. It really moves for such a long movie. It's great. I've had a few customers catch this on Film 4 during the wee hours. I've never met anybody that hasn't been spellbound by it. It's a fascinating film. There's Love Exposure, out originally from Third Window. I must see if I can upgrade that in some capacity. Ozone, my Book Walter signed copy of Ozone is out on loan. I know that people kind of have a hard time with, shot on video films. But I think if you have any inclination to go down the route of watching shot on video films, I think Ozone is a perfect place to start. It's such a cool movie. Directed by J.R. Bookwalter, so it's awesome to see that going out on loan. 2 films also that got rented this week that I felt compelled to upgrade. This is a weird one. I love this film to bits. Session 9, Brett Anderson's film. Love it to bits. Terrified me when I first saw it. Terrified me. And Second Sight upgraded it. They put a Blu-ray out in a special edition hard box, 35 quid or what have you. And I thought, that's all right. I'll wait till the standard comes out. Might be me. I have never seen a standard Blu-ray of this issued. Have you? Weird one. Anyway, I found someone on eBay selling the deluxe hardbox edition for a very cheap price. I don't think they realized what it was worth because, of course, it is out of print now. So I've got that hot-tailing its way in later this week, which is really cool. I like to revisit this film for Halloween after I have a commentary to do on Sunday, which is exciting. But I am tied up watching strippers and pole dancing at the moment. Dirty job. And finally, Crash upgraded this week. This is a really popular renter at Snips, rightfully so. Cronenberg in general rents like hell. And to be honest, I was having a look at that. I know History of Violence is coming out next week on Criterion. And I have got things like Shivers and The Brood and Scanners on Blu-ray. But I could do with paying a bit more attention to that section. Because along with... Right now at Snips, the hottest directors, David Lynch, obviously. David Lynch. Ooh. Ken Russell is really hot right now, but I've got loads of his on Blu-ray. Loads of it have been upgraded. And Cronenberg, I would say they're the three most rented directors at this given moment in time. Just do with paying a bit more attention to Cronenberg's physical media because some of them could do with an upgrade. But we'll see. Have a look at that. So yeah, Crash upgraded to the Arrow Blu-ray, which should be in this weekend, which is great. Remember seeing this at the cinema, which was good fun. I then went home in my car and yeah. But it's great, yeah. Very good indeed. And always great to see people renting it and experiencing this film for the first time, which is completely unique. Good. That is this week's On Loans. We have a small stack of what's in the box. Beginning with a Guy Ritchie film. I'm not the type of person that goes around buying Guy Ritchie films. I'm not pompous, not being pompous, just not my cup of tea. But you have an archive to preserve, and you do feel as though you do feel some responsibility to get films in that you ordinarily wouldn't gravitate towards. So Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie, not really my cup of tea, but still, it is Operation Fortune. This got caught up with the demise of Styx, STYX, the distribution company who went under just as this was about to come to the cinema. So it had no cinematic release here. Went straight to streaming on Prime Video. The German Blu-ray doesn't have an English language track, so this had to be an Italian import. So when it comes to things that just have never had a physical entity in this country, I am kind of inclined to purchase them. So that is why Operation Fortune is here, and I have been asked for it a couple of times as well. Same with Mute Witness. Someone asked me for this. I think Dominic asked me for this at the weekend. It came out through Arrow Video. One of those weeks where your budget is sky high, and I thought I'm going to have to cut back on a few things. So I didn't pick it up on day and date. But here it is now. It's a cool little thriller from the mid-90s, was it? Yeah, 95. By Anthony Waller. It's a great story, great thriller. And good upgrade, to be honest. Nice to have it here. That is Mute Witness. Another request from Ben. Bit of Jimmy Stewart that I didn't have. It is The Shop Around the Corner. This came out on the HMV Premium collection. It's an Ernst Lubitsch film. I have a lot of Ernst Lubitsch films from Germany. Some films that he made in Germany. But not this one. Which is one of his American films. And that's pretty cool. So I'll go straight into the Jimmy Stewart section at Snips tomorrow. We also have another tip-off by Dominic, who eternally grateful for, because Primer is a good renter here. Primer by Shane Carruth is a very good renter. And of course, I missed out on this originally, which is a double bill of Primer and Upstream Color, two films by Shane Carruth. Yeah, an excellent addition to the store, in my estimation. Good. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, again, this was a request by someone. They told me a little bit about it, and from what they described, it sounded amazing. Plus, it was a Criterion release that I seem to have missed out on. It is The Funeral. The Funeral, a film by Yuzo Itami, 1984, Japanese language. I forget when this came out over here. It came out 2022, which wasn't a great year for me picking up Criterion. It was very much a cherry-picking year, owing to lower budgets than I have now. So it's great to get that film in, great to get The Funeral in, and let it join the Criterion collection, which is rapidly running out of space at the moment, so I might have to revisit that in the new year. And finally, this week in What's in the Box, where I have just had Tropical Nights arrive. Tropical Heat, I think it was called in the US. It is, of course, a classic Jag Mundra erotic thriller with Rick Rossovich. You may know Rick Rossovich from Cyrano de Bergerac, Roxanne. He was great in that. And Leanne Beeman, of course, who's an epic star of these films. I say a great Jag Mundra erotic thriller. It's probably his weakest of all the erotics that he made throughout the 90s. But, you know, it's still worth looking. And to be honest, Matty Budrewicz knows release dates for these imprinted into his brain, and he has never, ever seen one of these anywhere in the wild. So it's a real rarity. So, and again, as I've said in the past, these films will never, ever get released in any format in the future. So important to have this on VHS purely from an archival and preservation point of view. So that is Tropical Heat / Tropical Nights. Good. Nearly done. Nearly done. Oh, competition. Should we do the let's do the competition first, because I know you're bored. You're sitting there wanting to have your Domino's or whatever you do on a Friday. £20 for a pizza. And you're thinking, Dave, just get on with it, for God's sake. So here we go. So what do you win? What do you win? Shadow Zone, the Joe Cardone film, in a lovely hard case Blu-ray. You win The Town That Dreaded Sundown in a lovely shiny slip. And you win Bad Channels in a lovely hardcover Blu-ray case. So you win all three. Not just you, though. Not just you. 3 of you will win 3 lots of these. So there are 3 lots of 3 Blu-rays up for grabs. Recommended retail price £50. I will give them to you for free. I will even post them to you for free. I will even include some Snips stickers and some flyers and some other crap I have lying around. And yeah, you can have these. But what do you have to do? Well, you have to beg. No, you don't. What I would like you to do to enter this competition, if you may, I want you to share this video. That's it. Share the video on any platform you choose. You can share it on Blue Sky, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Instagram, you can share it on TikTok, you can share it on Threads, you can share it on YouTube if you want to do it that way. Either way, share the video. Give it some kind of introduction to say this is what you watch. This you think it's all right. This guy's a bit of a bore, but it's interesting. Introduce it any way you want. You don't have to be gushing. That's irrelevant. It's not important in any capacity. Just share the video on some platform and tag me. Tag Snips Movies on one of those platforms. Share the video, and you will be entered into the competition to win a bundle of Blu-rays courtesy of Mr. Richard Elliott at 88 Films, who's been kind enough to send these over for nothing. So yeah, great thanks to Rich, who keeps on giving me a paycheck for some reason. Even though there's probably people better on the market than us. But maybe not. Who knows? So yeah, that's the competition. Feel free to enter. And good luck. I hope you win them because they're great films and they have amazing audio commentaries on every single one that I heartily recommend if any of you are struggling with the crippling disease of insomnia. Okie dokie, let's catch up with the comments section. What do we got? Quite a lengthy comment section, so I'll be as quick as I can. Indie Phantom Sofa Cinema said, I believe Boarding House was the first SOV feature. I think it was Indie Phantom, because this is, we're talking about Sledgehammer that came in the David A. Pryor film. Indie Phantom says, I believe Boarding House was the first SOV feature. I think it's kind of a battle. I think with Sledgehammer, it was the first SOV feature that was shot from beginning to end. It reached the marketplace with only utilizing video, where I think Boarding House might have utilized something else. But there's something. It's for some reason I don't think it's as simple as what came first. I think there is some complication which might suggest that it may have been Sledgehammer. But what do I know? I may be wrong. But either way, Boarding House is a great movie. Have it here. Awesome. Rent it. But thank you, Indie Phantom. John Hughes says, I would say the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons are some of the best TV. I've never seen The Simpsons. So thankfully, people are on hand to recommend The Simpsons. Important. Corey, avoid the chaos. I intend to avoid the chaos. Bob Jones says, my Hack-O-Lantern 4K UHD arrived today. I can't wait to watch it. Hack-O-Lantern is, of course, the one of the first films. It was the second film made by Jacques Mundra in the UK. I think his first film was called Open House, wasn't it? But Hack-O-Lantern came out recently on 4K UHD from Massacre Video, who are a really hard label to deal with because they're a bit inconsistent. But thankfully, Bob got his 4K UHD. So let me know how it looked, Bob. I'd be intrigued to know about that. Roxy says, yes, we would love to watch that Michael Moriarty Cohen film I mentioned. Yeah, Roxy's been looking at some Larry Cohen films, and rightly so, because Larry is a god. I also got in The Ambulance on Blu-ray last week for the first time. I got an Uncle Sam, which is just rented out on Blu-ray, which Larry wrote. And of course, Larry's last piece of work, I think it was called Pick Me Up, which was an hour-long for the Masters of Horror series, Mick Garris's show. It was a great piece of work. I thought it was really interesting. Michael Moriarty reteamed him with him, and they work so well together. But Roxy says, Snips does not need a coffee shop. Intriguing. This is starting to be a quite aggressive debate between my customers. Coffee shop, no coffee shop. Difficult one. Coffee shop, less films. No coffee shop, more films. Coffee shop, nice coffee. Tricky one. Something for to think about. What do we got? Untamed Aggression said, yeah, the lack of Larry Cohen in the UK is baffling. When I was building my collection, the Shout Factory Blu-rays were way too pricey. So for me, most of the discs I had to import from Spain. Yeah, it's a crazy one. There's so many of Larry's films I'd love to have here. But, I've got a couple on Region 1 disc, but it just rules out so many customers who haven't got a multi-region player. And they should be here. They should be in the UK with easy access, to be honest. It's so annoying, but there we go. Welcome to the world of distribution. Freddie Duncan says, yes, Don Calfo was the name I was trying to think about with The Return of the Living Dead. Great erudition. Yes, it is a great erudition. The documentary More Brains is also great. Also, did you find the last box set of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? No, I had to get the standard edition. So, That's life. I've got the film though, and the film is the important bit. That's the important bit. Paul Griggs says, I didn't have Twin Peaks down as your favorite David Lynch film. I think it's fluid, Paul. I think it's fluid. I think Twin Peaks, because I was such an obsessive about the series, I think the film just means so much, because when you finish watching a series in 1992 and you're 15, and then a film comes out about the thing that changed your life, I think ultimately that by default becomes the greatest thing you've ever seen. And it was such a departure from the innocence of the TV show. It's such a dark film. It's a truly, truly terrifying piece of work. And yeah, really, really looking forward to watching that again. Matt Blog says, I'm a big Hammer fan. Good one, Matt. So you should be. I'm really glad they're putting all these early films on Blu-ray that haven't had a release since VHS, but their prices are just beyond ridiculous. Yeah, it is crazy, to be honest. It's so frustrating. Like I said, with Blood Orange, I mean, 35 quid, I can't justify that amount on a minor Hammer horror film. I also see that Studio Canal, who I've got about 20 Hammer films under license, and they have now started releasing similar sets of like the Scars of Dracula, I think, for 35 quid. And it is just such a prohibitive price. Such a prohibitive price when you think you can get, I know they're different films, but great editions of these for £15 a pop. But you're looking for crazy money. And I know it's UHD, but I don't know. Yeah. Polly Rabbit says Vinegar Syndrome did release a standard version of The Keep. It was only the slip version that was limited. As to them releasing with a new slip, I have no sympathy for people that value cardboard above movies. Yeah, that is an interesting debate, really, isn't it? The people that value cardboard above movies. I must admit, I did used to be a bit of a contrarian in the past. I would video myself ripping up slipcases, because to me, the issue with slipcases has always been that it's annoying to stick it on loan ticket on, because you put your own loan ticket on and it's hidden below the slipcase. But so many of these glossy slipcases you can't stick on loan tags on because it peels the gloss off. So it's a nightmare. And frequently now I have people coming to the counter and saying, I'd like to rent this, please. And I'll go, on loan, sorry. And it's a bit annoying, but sometimes the slips look great, but they're not the film. And I hate this kind of, especially if you go to a website like Blu-ray.com, where there is almost fist fights daily about the quality of slipcovers. And it has become an obsession from nowhere. DVDs rarely had slipcovers back in the day. And I don't understand this obsession for them, really. I agree that some of these look nice. I mean, the ones for Shadow Zone, for example, is a nice hard box slipcover, and it's robust. That has some value. But stuff like this, the flimsy cardboard slips don't really have value. They are cheap as chips, but we value them so highly. It's crazy. So it's a weird one. For me, the film is always paramount. It's like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I really don't care that I got the standard edition of that. I saved money. And for a rental store, it just makes sense. The extra bits and bobs, booklet, posters, postcards, no point really here. It might look better on the shelf, might catch an eye, but it's a tricky debate, and it's full of, sometimes I can unwrap it's like I said about this. I would expect better for that money. I would expect better, considering I'm paying £15 and getting a robust slip that, to pay 4 times that amount and to get that little bit of card. That seems a bit cheeky. But hey, you find yourself drawn in, and I think it's finding that balance, really, where you appreciate the film first and foremost, but you also realize that there is added value to be had with a well-presented physical media edition. And if a well-presented physical media edition with a attractive slip leads to more people buying physical media, because that's the thing. I mean, ultimately, people are browsing HMV and places like that, and they walk across, a copy of Shadow Zone looking quite unique and a bit different. Those things are attractive to people. So I can see why it's done. It's a collector's market these days. It's a collector's market. It's not a functional market. It's not about building a library so much of just our favorite movies. It's about collecting and curating in our own homes. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Adam Schofield says, "Get Raiders watched." I order you. No. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Still haven't seen it. Probably won't. Oliver Stone films, says Fallon, in my opinion, always has one actor who outshines the rest. I am, of course, referring to Billy Bob Thornton in U-Turn. Billy Bob is very good in U-Turn, and he's very good in Landman. If you ever have a free trial going begging on Paramount, Landman is good stuff. I'm recommending streaming sites. Fantastic. Paddy says, Birkenhead fact checkers say Dave has met people who enjoyed Skinamarink. Us. Paddy and Roxy liked Skinamarink, which is great because I like that. I like variety. I like it when there's a film that polarizes. It's like I saw the TV Glow, probably my most polarizing film in years. Some people have despised it. Other people have rented it multiple times. And I like that. I like it when a film does that because it shows the power of film. And the same with Skinamarink. It didn't do it for me. But the fact that Roxy and Paddy have got something out of it is really, really very cool indeed. So I'm pleased about that. Because, everyone, all these films that come out, you want them to have some degree of success. You want the artist who made them to feel that love for their film. So if people love it, it might be a small segment, doesn't matter. It's still great news, so that's good. John again says, regarding the Keep and companies releasing limited editions, I'm not surprised. And I do wish the companies wouldn't do limited editions. Just release the film and leave it out there for everyone who wants it so they can get it. Yeah, it's annoying, John, but unfortunately, a lot of these contracts these days with the boutique labels are signed whereby they can only print a certain number of copies. Certainly some of these Paramount titles that are releasing, I think that they're limited to quite a low number. It's an unusual state of affairs, to be honest. You would have thought they would want maximum sales for their licensor, but I guess it all depends on the deal. And finally, we'll get to this week's controversy. I said last week I paired the awful Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Red Letter Media. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know much about Red Letter Media. I just kind of presumed they were of the same ilk, taking the mickey out of anything and everything as a sort of narcissistic dig at the fallibility of certain films. But Red Letter Media have got a gluttonous amount of good press. Matt Blogg says, Dave, this is a bit unfair. They enjoy watching these bad films. It's why they do it, and they tend to give fair critiques of movies. That's important. Fairness is very important. Adam says, start by looking at last year's Halloween episode. Blue Crayon says, yes, I just popped by because I wanted to point out the same thing that everyone else had mentioned, that Red Letter Media are absolutely nothing like the abominations of Mystery Science Theater or Riff Tracks. They give fair appraisals and have a laugh. They also review modern releases, and I find them to be very interesting to listen to, even if I don't agree with all of their opinions. So that's some very good press for Red Letter Media. Thank you for getting back in and commenting about that. It's important to have clarity, important to have a balanced opinion. And when you're rabbiting on and talking verbal diarrhea for an hour, inevitably some inaccuracies, I say some inaccuracies, quite a lot of inaccuracies will slip through the cracks. So thankfully, you're an intelligent and wizened audience. So I appreciate that feedback. Thank you very much indeed. Right, I've waffled on incessantly. Any new people who are watching this will have switched off hours ago. So it will just be us, the old crew. So that's cool. But yeah, thank you very, very much for watching. I'm going to go home and finish slinking around a pole. And I might get time to watch Laid to Rest and see what kind of shape that is in. Exciting. Yeah, we're all good. So big week next week. Huge week next week. Next week is the biggest spend. It's the biggest single week spend that this store has had in probably 16, 17 years. So it's a big week. There's some ridiculous titles coming in. I can't wait to introduce them all to you next week. And I hope that you will join me. That would be cool. But in the meantime, check out 5 Films on Sunday with Rob Stringer, who is a great talking head. And I will see you in 7 days' time.